Thanks for waking me up, Boots. Oh my goodness. Thank God I have my secretary today. Yeah. Oh, paperwork. Paperwork. Can I go drive nails yet? No, I have to sit at the desk. She said I have to sit at the desk more. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Since I'm bored out of my skull with this already and I just got here, think I want to just do a quick, hopefully quick, but I can never do a quick video. I've got Annabelle here today. She's being the secretary. Just company, basically. She likes getting out of the house. Working on the plans today, and I just wanted to shoot out a video. I think I'm ready to put it together. I have a couple of small clips that are going to come in just showing a couple of things for description purposes. But basically, you know, we all love axes, we all love power saws, we all love cutting, we all love what we love. That's why we're all here. Somehow I feel like you're staring at the floor with this thing, but I'm gonna tilt you up just a little bit. Maybe that's better. We all love tools, and we love cutting wood. I think that's the glue that keeps us together. I love the wood community and just the type of people that are in the wood community. We like keeping our saws in the wood. Chainsaws, or I should say power saws. But see, I call my babies power saws too. So it's just a language thing. They're all power saws. They're all very powerful. You know, 123cc chainsaw. I don't even know how to wrap my head around that. My 372 Husky, no, I know you're a Husky. I know, you're part Husky. Boy, do we know she's part Husky. But you know, you get that much steel turning and you get that much chain turning and you get, you know, I mean, a 372 is 5.5 horsepower. That's a lot to hold in two hands. There's a lot of physics at work in that. And it was funny because I was watching some other logging videos last night, and I guess I'm just too spoiled by Uncle Buckin and Cotton Top and Logger Wade. Even though Logger Wade, you do some sketchy stuff now and again, but you're a professional at sketchy stuff. You put the sketch in sketchy. I give you that. No, you guys operate the even bigger machinery. I mean, you guys have saw on Brutus and Din, the cutters on that thing, on those circular blades are what, 3 inches thick or so. The bandsaw, giant bandsaws, bigger bandsaw than I will ever own. I mean, the mill, and I'm sure you have a lot of this in place because you have a facility. But what I wanted to go over is, you know, you could have all this nice stuff and all these powerful saws and all this great equipment. And, you know, let's face it, we work with our hands, and our hands are our livelihood. And so, you know, I just wanted to touch on, I mean, I'm now expert. I was a safety officer at Stahlschmidt Construction, one of the general contractors that I worked for in the early 2000s for 5 years. So I got to be in charge of all of, you know, looking at a job and making sure everybody was safe and beg people to wear their hard hats and have stuff ready to go in case something happens. So you can have all these nice pieces of equipment, but there's also the other side to that equipment. That stuff bites. And so I just wanted to walk through as a non-expert, just as someone who just wants to bring it up. And, you know, I want to get into specifics with hands, but just in general, at my shop, I've got 2 first aid kits in my shop and a fire extinguisher. Jumper cables, just, you know, and a lot of this probably everybody has, but it never hurts to go over it. It really doesn't. And I also have, let's go see. We'll take Annabelle with us. You ready to go outside a little bit? By the way, how y'all doing this morning? I'm so stoked to be off this big job that I came from and be on a job that I have control over, because I can come to my shop. Where are you going? Stay here. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Get back here. Come on. Booty. All right. So there's kit number 1, and these you can get off Amazon for 20 bucks. They're in a metal case, which tends to hold up better in the truck. 25-person first aid kit. I have another first aid kit in here somewhere that's right there. Not as good. I've got my emergency deodorant for clients, face masks, wipes, Advil, Aleve. Oh, there's the secret emergency deodorant. In case you're after a work day, you have to go look at a job and go into somebody's house. This is a lifesaver for your hands. I recommend it highly. Zantac, hand sanitizer, eye wash, there it is, and Johnson & Johnson sports tape. Now, I want to take a minute. I have to go get my doggie, because she's going to have to go back in, because she's going to start wandering. Hey, Annabelle, come on back inside. You get to wandering too much. Let's go back in. You got some paperwork to go do. Yeah. You go pay the electric bill and the phone bill, okay? I wish. So, and granted, I should probably have all that stuff in a little box, but one day that might happen. Hard hat. The bald man needs a hard hat. There's my fire extinguisher hanging there. Masks, because we're required to wear masks in most all places. Oh, it's Prilosec, not Zantac. Let's see. And then I do carry these N95s, which are really hard to find. Those used to be for debris and whatnot, and now they're just for sketchy situations. In the wintertime, this will be filled with, I also have bolts for the truck. Oh yeah, now, so we're going over what's gonna be in a little clip. But these guys don't mess around, as I say, when I'm going over finger cuts. Don't mess around with crappy Band-Aids. These are invaluable. So we've got the sports tape, the Johnson & Johnson sports tape. Johnson & Johnson is the bomb in tape, first aid tape. This is waterproof tape, which is what my grandfather used to use for his fingers. I used to use this. I tend to use the sports tape more now, but this is a waterproof tape, which comes in handy. And I use that in the wintertime because my fingers split open. What else we got going here? Oh yeah, the quintessential thing, the must-have. Hopefully it's bloody here. I gotta find it. Leatherman. Dings for the van. Ah, here they are. if you're a person dealing with wood, metal, you got to get yourself a pair of these. These are called the tweezers with pinpoint protection, and they are Uncle Bill's silver gripper. And if you're a wood guy, a metal guy, or a guy that gets splinters in your hand regularly, these are, I have a pair in the shop, I have a pair at home, and I have a pair in the van. Because a lot of times I will get splinters that I can barely even see. And the days of taking my utility knife and digging out a splinter, that tends to add more infection. But anyway, if you can see these guys, there's other tweezers like these, but these are the best. They are like, they come together like surgery tweezers do. And they are chamfered. Chapstick. For summertime, sunscreen, deep woods off, pepper spray for road rage. What else? I just have a drumstick in here because I play drums, and I keep all of my tape, whether it's electrical, Teflon tape, not duct tape, but just the smaller rolls. I keep it right there and handy. So, and then another thing that I do is, we got to walk around now to the other side. There's the jumper cables. I guess this is Boy Scout Day. Because, you know, jobs can go along great, and then boom, there you go. Boom! You're in the middle of something and you're making dust fly and dirt fly, and you've got a cut. I always carry this. I carry this guy just full of water, and with the chalk for the chalk lines, the old antibacterial. So I get pretty extensive, but it helps keep you together. And that's really the point. Don't ignore abrasions and cuts on the job site, because all they do is get worse if you don't take care of them. I mean, even if all you have is a roll of electrical tape or duct tape or masking tape, that's better than nothing. If you've got a water source and you can wash those wounds out, hey booty, I'm back. It's important, even if you have to take your drinking water and clean out your wound, get that wound clean immediately. When I get a cut, I call it laying a flat. Let me go get a marker. Hey Boots, you still got water in there? Yeah, you're good in there. I mean, and I this is important to me, because I'm one of those guys, my hands are super sensitive. I play drums, I play guitar, I play bass, and I go berserk when something happens to my hands. There's the eraser. Now where's the dry erase markers? Here's one. Okay, so this I just got because I started thinking, you know, this is eye wash and another 25 person that's going on the wall here in the bathroom. Booty, you got to get that installed today, okay? You're going to install that for me while I'm sleeping at my desk. But I mean, shoot, I'm running a 5 horsepower 3-phase table saw that either it can turn a 10, it can turn a 12, and it can turn a 14-inch blade. I mean, that's a 10-inch, but I mean, stuff with this happens in the blink of an eye And the forces on this saw are great. You've got this big old DeWalt slide box. And any one of these saws are capable of getting bound up and something going crazy. And we have a 3 horsepower, 12-inch radial arm, bandsaw, 2 horsepower bandsaw that can take up to a 1-inch blade for resawing. Planer, everything's covered. This new belt sander, I have a nice, which I'll show you later. I sanded my knuckle, which was really awesome. But you've got stuff turning. The joiner has got an 8-inch cutter head turning at 2,000 RPMs. I mean, this is a land of chaos. Drill press can mess you up. Even a portable drill can mess you up. And I'm not talking cordless. I'm talking, I have some electric, half-inch electric drills that if you hit a nail or something, the drill is gonna stop, but the whole drill will keep spinning around. And you know, there's just so much that can happen. And I'm here by myself. So what if something happens? I mean, what if something big happens? Well, your best friend is your cell phone. Hopefully it's a situation where you can call 911. But in the meantime, what do you do? Sorry, boots. Towels, bandanas. I have paper towels and I have towels. I have hydrogen peroxide. I have isopropyl alcohol. I mean, you just got to be prepared. And hopefully you've got, hopefully the saw gods are with you. It's a little harder out in the bush. I know Buckin wears a whistle, which is such a great idea. But anyway, that's kind of an overview. I wanted to get into hands and fingers. Mostly fingers, because I don't know about you. When my fingers go down, it's just so much goes through my head when I even cut my fingers. And usually when I cut my fingers, I go a long stretch where I don't really have any problems. I wear gloves. Gloves are important, but a lot of the work that I do, I have to have the tactile. I have to be able to feel flush things up. And you just sometimes, in the wintertime, you don't have a choice. But I've always worked with my bare hands, and it makes for better work. So anyway, for the last 2 weeks, in 1 week, I had 3 white bandages on this hand. What, booty? You're gonna have to stay. We're doing a video, and I had 1. So I had 4 in 1 week's time. I had 4 serious to me. Now, I'm not serious where you need to go to urgent care or go to the emergency room, but stuff that if you don't pay attention, you're going to end up with a hole in your finger that has a chance to get infected, and then that's going to affect your work for a much longer time. So I call this laying a flat. My first finger, my pinky, got crushed. This would be the inside of my pinky. It got crushed between the walkboard on the scaffolding and the frame of the scaffolding. And it basically pinched a chunk that had a little hinge on it. So if that's my finger, that's a side view of my finger. And yeah, let's do that. So, we're talking 1/4 of an inch here, maybe 3/16. So I have this scenario going. Now setting trusses on a roof, something like that happens. We all had a roll of electrical tape in our pouches. And unless you cut your finger off up on the trusses, the crane is on the clock, and you just got to tape it up and go and deal with it later. And if you have to take, the first thing is to get pressure on this, because this isn't going to stop bleeding in 5 minutes. But the first thing to do is to stop what you're doing, turn your machines off, and just take a deep breath and assess what you got going on, because usually you got blood going. I don't have a red marker. Boots, you're staying here. Go get on those bills. Go pay those bills. I need those paid today. So letting it bleed for a little while is a good thing, because it tends to get debris out of there. But do not rip this off. Do not rip that off. That is gonna save you. So I don't care what's when something like this happens to me, I don't care what's going on. I don't care what I'm in the middle of. I make a beeline for the van, and I open the door, and I get the Dial soap out and the 5-gallon cooler, and I wash it. Wash it as best as you can. And then some sort of paper towel or a clean rag, get pressure on it. And if you don't have time to do that, then you're gonna have to and these are for small wounds. These are not for something that's gonna require stitches. That's mainly clean it up, get pressure on it, and get to urgent care or call 911, depending on the severity of it. But for stuff like this, which hurts like hell, and it pisses you off, and you want to say every cuss word in the book, because A, you're mad because it hurts, B, you're mad because you had to stop working, and C, because you know it's going to impact the work for a couple of weeks, because it's going to impact your work, it's going to impact your, what did I do there? It's going to impact your ability take a shower, because the main thing is to get it wrapped up and keep it covered and keep it protected. And we're talking 2+ weeks that you're looking at taking care of it. The better you take care of it, the faster it's going to heal. And I can show you the results on my fingers here in a second. And then I have the 2 other clips that kind of show me midway. But, okay, friends, I'm not trying to gross anybody out, but last week was not a good week for my fingers. My pinky, right there, this guy took a giant pinch from the scaffolding, and then this finger took a spinning square bolt. It took a big chunk out of my finger. Now, when I have talked about in the earlier video, or earlier in the video about laying a flap, this is what I mean by taking care of your fingers. When you lay a flap, you have to be super careful and act super fast. So it's a week now, and instead of having infected holes in my fingers, I don't know if you can make out, but I was able to get my hand clean immediately and get a Band-Aid on it and get it taped up to where it couldn't get dirty for the rest of the day. I couldn't stop. I had to keep going. I had to keep working. So these are really looking good. That piece of flap, if you cut that off, you will have a cut on your finger that's basically a gouge, and it's going to take it a long time. I'm sorry, I'm shaking the camera. It's
going to take it a long time to heal. So these flaps, once I got home, hydrogen peroxide, let it dry, iodine, let it dry, and I'll talk about those tweezers right there later on in the video. But always have hydrogen peroxide, iodine, and then this. And the procedure is to get your wound clean. Do not cut that flap off, because that flap, if you fold it back in the field and get it clean and get it taped up to where it's not going to move, and get it to where you can at least function during the day. I mean, if you can't function, you need to go to the emergency room. What I'm trying to save you is a hole in your finger that's infected and it's going to take a long time to heal. So once you get home, you cut all the garbage off, bandage-wise anyway. You put your hydrogen peroxide on it, and then your iodine. And you let that dry. You let your whole finger dry. And you put just a dab, just cover the wound. Not slather your finger, just a little dab, and then cover the wound with the triple antibiotic ointment. And then these fabric band-aids, I don't mess around with anything that's not Johnson & Johnson. I've tried it all. This is Johnson & Johnson sports tape. So once you have your triple antibiotic ointment on it, then you put a band-aid over it and you cover it. Snug, not tight. And then I will show you what I do. Let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, so I'm gonna take it. I'll just do it so you guys can see it. So I take it. Sometimes I use a Q-tip. Just enough. And these are far along enough. These are far along. These are a week out. So, you know, they're healing. You can tell they're healing. You might not be able to tell from the phone camera that they're healing, but they are not holding my fingers. You're not out of the woods with these yet, though. You're going to have to go another week. You're going to have to keep them covered. Keep them covered no matter what. I keep all this stuff in my truck. I keep it at the shop. Even if you have to cover it, you have to clean it and put duct tape over it. That's still better than going to work and with an open wound. That's just foolish. That's just asking for an infection, and it's gonna, these big gashes in your hands take forever to heal, even when they're not infected, because they're super deep. And basically, you're just doing a makeshift skin graft. You're putting that material that's still alive on the flap that you just laid open. You're putting it back in the wound, and the body is accepting it back. You're going to have dead skin on top of it. It will, you know, your callus and stuff. But okay, see, I've got my. Now here's what I learned from my grandpa, who was a surgeon, and he was a surgeon back before they had, before they used latex gloves. So you take the sports tape, and you rip a length that's going to go over your finger, and you rip it in half again. I hope I'm getting this. You rip it in half again, and you go, well, this is a little short, but it'll work. I'll do the other one a little longer. So you go there, and you put it across over your finger like that. And I'm here to tell you, the Johnson & Johnson sports tape, there's no substitute for it. the other stuff comes flying off. It's not waterproof tape, and I've got some other tape that I'll cover later. But, okay, so then you take something that's gonna go around your finger about 1.5 times. And you start at the top. And this is gonna protect that Band-Aid. See there? And now I just squeeze the top like that, and that's what you end up with. And that's functional. If you wash your hands, this is, you know, you can only get a few hand washings out of it, and it's gonna come off and you'll have to do it again. But the first week of this, the first 2 weeks of this are crucial, that you keep these wounds covered and keep them in triple antibiotic ointment and clean. You'll be glad you did. So, see, I've got that, and then I'm coming over there with that like that. I used to use electrical tape when we were setting trusses for a roof. That's a situation where you've got a crane on the clock, and if you bash your finger, you got to tape it up and keep going. Unless you're really injured, you got to go. You got to keep going. So, looks dorky, but it's sports tape. It does give you some flex and some dexterity. But the most important thing is keeping those wounds clean and keeping the triple antibiotic ointment on there. So, anyway, on to the next section of this. And that will get you back in the game. It'll get you back in the game with a clean wound that's dressed. And believe me, that sports tape is tough stuff. All you have to do is watch. I mean, if you can put gloves on, great. I also recommend carrying nitrile gloves. If you've got a really bad cut and you can dress it, especially, I mean, even if it's something you need to go to the emergency room, if you can clean it, get some pressure on it, take the time to get pressure on it, get it bandaged up, either with the gauze in the first aid kit, and wrap it, and put the whole thing in a nitrile glove and get your butt to urgent care or the emergency room. But anyway, the cross pattern going down your finger and then wrapping it gets you back in the game. And it is going to do several things. What it's going to do is keep you for the rest of the day for getting dirt in your finger and having a bigger problem when you get home, because the time where, like, say if you do it at 12 o'clock, by the time, Booty, would you go lay down? I'm talking. I am talking. If you leave this open, you're going to have big problems. You're going to have a bigger job of cleaning it up. You risk this flap here dying, which if this material on the bottom of your flap dies, then what you have to live with is a hole in your finger for quite a while. And it takes twice as long, if not longer, for that to heal versus this. Basically, this is a skin graft. And you're talking a couple of weeks, maybe a little longer, depending on the cut. If it's worse, if it's a big cut, probably something that you should go get stitches for. But you don't, and we all do that. Same procedure, but take the nitrile gloves and a rubber band into the shower with you, and don't let the water hit your bandage, even if you have to hold your hand above your head while you're taking a shower. And I know taking a one-handed shower isn't easy, but it's worth it. If you have a real bad cut on your finger, you gotta tape it up and keep it clean and change your dressing and keep it covered more than you keep it open. At this point with your wound, you don't want to let it dry out.
you want that tissue to heal. You want that tissue to, I guess, what Austin Powers says, cross-mogenate with the wound. And believe me, it works. It works. Let's see, that covers fingers. Like I said, if all you have is electric, just keep some kind of tape. If you think this is all BS, just keep some kind of tape in the van. Duct tape works better than electrical tape because electrical tape, the black adhesive on the electrical tape tends to transfer onto your skin, which is hard to get off. But electrical tape is good for pressure because it stretches. And you can really, it's good and it's bad because you can put too much pressure on it. You can cut off the circulation. So that is kind of the rundown. A crush like what I got with the scaffolding is worse than what I did with the axe, where stupidly I was, I had just finished the first axe with my new system that I'm using to sharpen axes, and I just, that's the tip of my finger here, and I just that's a slice, but it was still a flap. Same procedure. These heal a lot faster, and obviously a cut is more is better than a tear or a crush. So just be ready. Not often, because I hate to think about it. I sit here, not only do I have to worry with this guy as far as cuts, but I mean, this motor is turning almost 4,000 RPMs. It doesn't care about me. And I raised him from a young chicken. If I get something getting thrown back at me, and I've had smaller cabinet saws throw something back at me and hit me in the stomach, and it's not pretty. It hurts. It'll knock you over. So just be prepared, because there's no point in having all this equipment and not being safe with it. See, I have a fire extinguisher over there. I check the gauge regularly. Good light, gloves when needed. Angle grinders, use railroad gloves. Chainsaws, hey, chainsaw pants. I'm doing steel-toed boots. I bought the right boots for using chainsaws. But with chainsaws, I'm being extreme. I'm going overboard on safety because I'm not a pro like a lot of you guys on my page. And sometimes you guys don't have, time. I know Jay Daniels, you guys are out in the bush, doing fire, combating fire with chainsaws, and it's a little bit different scenario. But and I know you have a fire department, so you guys have a whole safety regimen. And Jay, I hope you watch this, and I hope you chime in, because I know you can add a lot to this. I mean, I am stressing first aid kits and stuff, but I'm mainly wanting to this is just tips for bashing your fingers. So I hope this helps. Common sense with your saws. Guys with experience know this. Right tool for the right job. Gravity is your friend. If your spidey sense tells you that something isn't right, stop and think about it. I think that kind of covers it. I just want you guys to stay safe out there. Mainly when you get a cut, clean it up. because it'll keep the clean it up and cover it as fast as these guys are coming along. I don't know if you can see them, but there's no holes in my finger, and we're 2 weeks out, and I've had holes in my fingers before, and you're looking at least a month. So I would say for an unprofessional skin graft, came out okay. And I've had professional skin grafts before too. I've had the hand surgeon had to take a piece of it out of here, and I don't remember which. I think it was on the side of this finger. That was the one where I filleted my finger. But that's the gist of it, I guess. I never run power tools if I've had any sort of adult beverage ever. I've had a lot of friends lately that have had bad stuff happen to them, and I haven't been feeling down, but I've been feeling bad for them, and I've been feeling grateful for my wife and my family and my dogs, and the fact that the great gods have blessed me with a lot of work in this weirdness that we're all going through. So, heck, I don't even know what day it is. I'm so busy. I think it's Thursday. Not 100%. I do know it's the 19th, so whatever the 19th is. I can say too that my new sharpening system on my axes has taken these axes from something that you can hurt yourself with to something that you can really hurt yourself, with. So when I test my axes out in the ash in the backyard that I took down earlier this year, if you see me in tennis shoes or flip-flops, I want you to get on me about it, because I'm not skilled enough. I don't fancy myself as an expert axeman. I love axes. I love using them. I love making them sharp. But man, stuff can go south in the blink of an eye. And I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but hey, if this makes somebody throw a first aid kit in their truck and think about it, then one person, then I feel like this video was a success. So stay safe, stay happy, stay positive, reach out to your friends. Maybe reach out to a friend you haven't reached out to in a long time and see what they're up to, and just ask them how they're doing. And if they ask you how you're doing, fine, but be concerned about them. And I think the worst that I can get is poking myself with this compass, but I don't think it's going to be enough to be able to go to urgent care. I got to have these turned into the city by tomorrow. I don't know that that's going to happen. I've got the footprint drawings done and ready, but I just have to do all the elevational drawings. And man, I hate sitting at a desk. I really do. I wish I could go make another funny video. I liked that video yesterday. That made me chuckle. Usually I don't, I'm like, oh, what a dork, but I liked that video yesterday. I tell you what though, I came back out to my van and the big cooler had kind of tipped and it was dripping into my tool pouch. And I was like, what the beep happened? And then I remembered all of that, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're such a dork. Anyway, everybody, thanks. If you're looking at this and you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. You don't have to subscribe. If you feel like you have 2 cents to offer with all of this, offer it up as long as you're nice about it, even if you disagree. Just be nice about it, because this is a sharing thing, you know. And I love you all, you guys, man. I love you guys. Take care and be safe. And Axe video coming at 9:06. Axe video's coming. I've got some paracord to wrap on these two, and then they're getting shipped out. I stamped Captain Caveman last night and put another coat of tongue oil on them, and it's, you know, I hope that handle holds together. I was disappointed in the checking on the end of it, but man, does it look good. I mean, it's really gratifying. Each one just seems to get better and better. I'm working on buying axes in bulk now, and then working on patterns for my own handles. So smile. It's Thursday, we're almost there, and rock on.